There is one thing that will rob you of your independence faster than anything else. In today's video, I'm going to reveal what that thing is and how you can prevent it. The thing we are talking about today happens to more than 350,000 people and racks up more than $20 billion of hospital debt every year. And we're talking about hip fractures. There are some shocking statistics associated with hip fractures, and the first is just how common they are, and over 75% of the victims are female. The second is that even after surgery, over 30% of people who suffer from a hip fracture will pass away within a year. And then the third is that of the survivors, only around 50% are able to return to their baseline level of mobility. So hip fractures are a very serious problem and one that we definitely need to avoid. Hip fractures are caused by three major things, and the good news is they're all fixable. So in today's video, I'm going to reveal to you exactly how to fix them. I'm going to show you some exercises to help you do that now, but before I do, I just need to make you aware they're not suitable for everyone. Please avoid any of the ones that cause you pain. The first problem we're going to talk about solving today is a loss of balance. And someone losing their balance and then falling over is the #1 cause of a hip fracture. The good news is that balance is a trainable skill, and with the right steps, you can improve it. So here's some great exercises to help you maximize your balance that you can do throughout your day. First things first, what we want to do is set you up in a very safe position. So what I want you to find is something called a safety corner at home, which is the corner of two walls at 90 degrees. And you're going to practice your balance exercises standing in this corner so that if you lose your balance, the worst that's going to happen is your shoulders will hit the wall and you'll be able to correct yourself. So what you're going to do for this is you're going to start off with an exercise called a close stance squat. And what that involves is your feet being very close together like mine are now, and then just first of all finding your balance in this position. Because we've really narrowed your base of support, you're going to feel a little bit wobbly, but that's okay, and you should be able to maintain that for 30 seconds. If you can, here's what I want you to do. You're going to keep your feet and your knees together, and you're going to squat down like this, just 6 to 8 inches, and then come back up. So you're going to go down and back up. And what this exercise is doing is giving you a component of balance practice, but also a strength component as well. Because as we move, you're changing your center of gravity, which means your feet and ankles are having to adapt, but we're also strengthening the muscles that support your hips. We've got your quads, your glutes, and all of the muscles around the front of your hips as well, getting some strengthening with this movement here. So you can do that for 30 seconds, repeat that several times per day, just whenever you get a moment. And then the second exercise I want you to practice is something called the tightrope walk. And this is a brilliant way at improving your dynamic balance. So you're just going to stand against the wall like this. You've got something to hold on to if you need to. If you're very unstable, put some chairs lined up that way as well, or choose a narrow corridor. And you're going to imagine you've got a tightrope along the floor in front of you. If you've got laminate floor like we have, you can use one of the natural lines to walk along it. And all we're going to do here is walk along that tightrope, going heel to toe, heel to toe. And we want to do this as slowly as we possibly can, because this is a little bit like riding a bicycle. The slower you do it, the more unsteady you are, which means the more your feet and ankles are going to have to work to correct. And that's actually what we want. We want little wobbles, because that means you're working your balance to the point where you're challenging it. And if you're challenging it, it's going to get better. Now you need to do this consistently for it to improve. I recommend just doing 30 seconds of effort several times per day. And the best times to do it are when you're brushing your teeth or waiting on hold on the phone, when you're waiting for something to cook on the stove. These are all great opportunities to do 30 seconds worth of work. So that's the first thing we need to do. We need to improve our balance. And if you're interested in improving your balance further, I've got a whole module dedicated to improving this key skill inside my lifelong mobility program. It's chock full of workouts that you can follow along with me in real time, and you can find details of it in the description box below this video. The second problem we need to fix if we want to avoid a hip fracture is a loss of bone density. And did you know that 85% of people who fracture their hip have been diagnosed with osteoporosis? Now, osteoporosis disproportionately affects women, And the bad news is it's very difficult to treat, but you can improve your bone density to a degree if you take the right steps. And these exercises can really help you do that. So I've got two to show you. The first is called heel drops. And this is a great exercise for people who can't run and can't jump, because it's not safe for them to do so, but they still want a boost in bone density. So to do this, all you need is something to hold on to. You're going to put two hands against a wall or a worktop like this. You're going to go up onto your tiptoes, and then very briskly, you're going to drop down onto the floor like that. Now, obviously, be careful. If you're not suitable for this, please don't do it. But doing this sends a shock wave up through the legs into the hip, a nice healthy force that stimulates the regrowth of new bone. It actually triggers our bone building cells to start laying down new tissue and reduces the activity of the ones that clear away tissue. So we end up with a net gain. So what we have to do is go up like this and then drop down. And that dropping force is pretty important. Now, someone asked me a really good question the other day. They said, if I do this in spongy trainers, will it have the same effect? The answer is, I actually don't know. I don't think there's research on it, but my guess would be probably not. I think it's that impact that we need that stimulates the regrowth of new bone. It isn't going to work if we don't get that impact, because that's what stimulates bone regrowth. It's basically sending a signal to your body that our bones need to be strong, so you better not let them get any weaker, because otherwise we won't be able to withstand this force. Now, this exercise is another one that's done really well little and often. Do 30 seconds worth of work, maybe a couple of times a day if you want to prioritize this, and it will go some way to building new density in your bones. If you're enjoying this video so far, by the way, it would mean the absolute world to me if you hit that subscribe button. It just means you'll be the first to hear about our new videos. It's totally free and it helps the channel to grow. So thank you if you do that. The second bone density boosting exercise I want to show you today is the side stomp. And this exercise works off the same premise as the previous one, where we're looking for some impact, and the bones absorbing that impact is what triggers new regrowth. So you're going to stand like this with a bit of space either side of you. You're going to step out to the side and stomp down into a bit of a lunge. So you don't have to go too deep, but we're going to go out and down like that. So out, stomp, and sink into it. And you can repeat this just like you did the heel drops, doing maybe 10 or 20 repetitions each side, just kind of 30 seconds worth of work, and do that little and often, and it is going to stimulate some regrowth in that hip. And it's that neck of the femur right up near where the hip joins that we have the problem at when we fall. That seems to be the area that's weakest, and that's the area that fractures in people. Obviously, when you're doing this exercise, make sure you're doing both sides. Now, don't do this exercise if it causes you pain, but for many people, this is a great and safe way to rebuild some of that lost bone density. The third problem that can lead to a hip fracture is a loss of strength and muscle mass around the hips. And this is a problem for two reasons. If you lose strength and muscle in this area, it makes falls more likely because you're just simply not as stable. You've got more chance of your hip giving way, especially if you've got some arthritis, and you might lose control on stairs or when you're out walking as well, compared to someone who's very strong. Then the other issue is, if you've lost muscle mass here, you've just simply got less padding. So if you fall, you're landing directly on the bone, and that can cause a fracture. Now, the good news is you can build up strength and muscle mass at any age, regardless of what other people have told you. You just need the right exercises and the right plan. So I'm going to show you one of the best exercises to help you do that. It's called the goblet squat, and here is how it looks. Now, I would recommend for this getting a dumbbell that you can hold into your chest, but you can use a bag filled up with books. As long as you've got something nice and heavy, it will really, really help. So what you're going to do is take your dumbbell like this. You're going to hold it into your chest. You want it nice and supported like this with your palms upwards, feet shoulder width apart and the toes turned out ever so slightly. And then you're just going to push your bottom out, bend your knees, sink down into a squat whilst keeping your back straight, and then come back up. Now, the beauty of this exercise is not only does it strengthen your quads and your glutes, but it will also boost your bone density, because resistance training has been shown to increase bone density, just like those heel drops and those stomps that I showed you earlier. Resistance training is just as good at improving the thickness of your bones. And when we're doing a goblet squat, because it's a hip movement, it's going to directly strengthen the bones in your hips. You'll also obviously build muscle with it and strength around that area too. So what I'd recommend you do is do somewhere between 10 and 20 repetitions of this exercise. Do 3 sets with a 1 minute break in between your sets, and do that 2 to 3 times per week. That would be a wonderful routine and will safeguard you or a family member from a hip fracture. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do drop a comment below if you have. Let us know if you're going to be trying these exercises. There's another video on the screen right now that will help you gain more muscle and strength to help you avoid injury. And I'll see you again on the next video.